Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Syte Symbio webinar. My name is Julie Zuckerman, and I'm the Senior Director of Product Marketing at Syte. I'm very pleased to welcome you to our webinar today. So I'd like to introduce our two panelists. Aaron Ellis is a Senior Customer Success Manager and e-commerce consultant at Syte. With over a decade of expertise in the e-commerce industry, he's worked closely with brands of all sizes to improve their performance, conversion rate, and other e-commerce KPIs. Aaron is driven by data and loves to connect the dots between business goals and customer experience. And he loves sharing insights he's gained by working with some of the world's largest and most innovative retailers online. Our second panelist is Lauren Silvermans. Lauren is a customer success manager at Cymbio. Originally from New York, she joined the founding team of Cymbio when she moved to Tel Aviv in early 2020. Lauren works with brand customers of all sizes, from small to enterprise, helping to enable their growth and reach their business objectives. Lauren is passionate about delivering high-quality service for her accounts and partnering internally and externally to deliver great results. So let's get started. You can move to the next slide. Okay, so on our agenda today, we'll be talking about planning and strategy, how you can leverage technology to deal with holiday season surplus, iterating on your inventory strategy, and best practices for different scenarios. And I hope everyone has been having a great holiday season so far, one that's exceeded your expectations. Okay, so just a quick intro to the problem of overstocks and returned items. I've seen some statistics recently calling returns $1 trillion problem. And we know that on average, retailers were expecting about 18% of merchandise sold during the holiday shopping season to be returned. And that's according to NRF's most recent data. And we know that returns from e-commerce sales are even much higher than, or as a percentage than returns from brick and mortar stores. Aaron's going to be discussing a little bit of the why, and Lauren's going to be discussing the where. So without further ado, I'll let them take it away. Go ahead.
Thanks so much, Julie. That picture before was a little unsettling, seeing such a cluttery mess. I hope everybody's inventory is a little bit better managed than what we saw on that last slide. But today, I will be discussing a little bit about the why, diving into your website, specifically understanding your catalog. So discussing how you could segment it to identify not only overstock, but bestsellers, and seeing how you combine those two segments to push some of these overstock products, and as well as creating a strategy so you don't end up in a situation where you're dealing with this overstock in the last minute. So essentially setting expiration dates for your inventory through your website so you know when to take the next action to move that inventory.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, I'm Lauren. Thanks for having me. I can also address the where. So Aaron spoke to the why problem, kind of how your product should be displayed on site, but as important, it's also essential to understand where you're selling, where your connections are to different outlets, to be able to use a multi-channel approach to be able to segment your inventory and capitalize on it as best as possible, to account for overstocks, to account for returns, and be able to be really strategic with the inventory that you do have. And also ensure that you have an end-to-end visibility into your entire ecosystem of your online sales. So marketplace, dropship accounts, your own e-commerce, and taking that pool, really being the most strategic with it and understanding where it best works.
Great. So let's dive a little bit into some of the strategies. And I'm going to dive right into how I like to plan and prepare, not only for overstock, but really this is just how I recommend dealing daily and yearly with managing and understanding your catalog and how quickly products are moving. I think one of the things we're constantly working to improve is the efficiency and balancing that with the scalability, right? That's a keyword that we're all feel pressure on. So how do we manage a lot of items with our limited amount of time? And the best way we could do that is by segmenting our catalog and understanding our catalog in the relevant segments. So generally how I'd like to start off, before we even dive into some of the actions we could do to alleviate overstock products, is work on the segmentation. Identify what products in my catalogs are my best sellers. Those should stand out. And then slow moving products. So these are the products that if they're not overstocked today, they're going to be heading in the direction of being overstocked in the near future. So having a segment for that group, and then obviously the non-sellers, items that just aren't selling at all. Once we have those 3 segments, you can then begin to diagnose what the reason is for these items potentially becoming or leading to an overstocked situation. And the very easy split, the low-hanging fruit, is just looking on through your website funnel and understanding, is this getting the PDP views, enough PDP views that it has the ability to actually sell? And if we can immediately group products that are slow moving and not selling, and the reason that is because they don't have the eyes, we have a very quick remedy for that, which is presenting those within our website, within those small real estate areas in our website, to making sure that we're getting eyes and seeing if they are converting. If we are getting the eyes on those products and they're just not selling well, then you have to take the next step of investigation. And that is a whole bunch of options. And some of these items, I think Lauren will definitely dive into, but mainly focusing on your website yourself. As I mentioned before, I view the areas on our website, like on the PDP, our recommendation carousels, our product listing pages, our text search pages, as real estate. We only have a limited view space from our customers on those pages, and on the carousels it may be 5 spots. On the product listing pages, it may be 3 pages deep. So within that limited space, you have to make sure that you're recommending the right products. And if our goal is to move overstocked product, then what we want to do is take the items that have small views and push them in those areas where they will get views, top 3 pages of PLP. Make sure they have the text search foundation in the recommendation engines. And why segmenting the bestsellers is very relevant on the website front is this is the items that I want to begin packaging these overstocked items with. So on my bestsellers products, the ones that have the most PDP views, I want to offer alternative overstocked items or complementary overstocked items to see if those also can be relevant to the user. So once you have the segmentation, you can immediately take that scalable action with that segment by marrying those 2 segments and then pushing them up in the relevant areas. Now, that's the first step of the process. The ideal goal of what you want to achieve is understand how quickly you're moving products. So, the velocity, how many orders per day or per week or per month for a specific item, and how long you have to sell out that product within your website. If you're able to understand that, you can then begin to start defining once you define the goal, milestones, meaning if we don't hit this velocity, this sell-through rate by this date, we will take an action, whether that is increase marketing spend or maybe reduce price, whatever it may be, but we have to have an expiration date for our inventory in order to systematically sell through correctly. Now, if we've defined our segments and then we've also defined the goals for those segments, then we just got to monitor the sell-through rate and make sure we're adapting to that constant dynamic flow. So whereas instead of scrambling at the end of the month to try and understand what we do with overstock, we're spending our time on a daily basis, making sure that the expected velocities to hit that expiration date is on target. And if not, we're taking an action by a specific date. Now, that's more of the strategic standpoint of when you're looking at exclusively on the website funnel, how you want to prepare yourself for actions. Now, once you have those actions, I briefly mentioned it before, is the valuable real estate you have, right? A lot of the problem sometimes is eyes. So making sure that we're giving all your products a fair shake, if you will, at getting viewed on your website. That surfaced, as I mentioned, through the recommendation engines, through your product listing pages ranking, and your text search. So you want to leverage your merchandising strategies, which would be aligned, and for this period, it's for overstock. So the way we rank should have that overstock sentiment, our business goals aligned with that ranking strategy. And if it gets views and it doesn't sell through, great, we're pushing it through the investigation mode to understand, where is this better working? How can we replicate that success? And then the idea is internally on your website, not that you dismiss it, because it'll always be visible on your website. But what you're going to do is that if it has the eyes and it's just not converting, you're just going to remove it from your those key real estate areas and making sure that your selling products do stand in. But then you'll move into investigation, and that will be then, okay, what are the actions we take? You know, it could be price reduction, it could be moving to other outlets like physical locations in theory, it could be wholesale. There's a whole plethora of options you could take once you've reached that dead end. But the idea and the perspective that I come from is that you plan and spend your time monitoring the sell-through rate with your expiration dates, and that won't leave you scrambling at the end of the month. You'll already be way ahead of the game and have that next step put in place. So a lot of it's the planning side from my end, but in order to do that effectively, you got to understand your catalog. You got to know what you're selling and what you're not selling. So I think on that point, Lauren can dive into some of the other avenues that we sell outside of the website and how to sort of take the more holistic view of the business as a whole and that overstock situation.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, Aaron spoke to kind of optimizing your own website as the most important real estate that you have to be selling, you know, on your site. And in terms of real estate, you know, we like to take the analogy as your website is your home. It's your main home. You only have one front door, you have one kitchen to use, you need to optimize it accordingly. But with a multi-strategic, multi-channel approach, you can have a vacation home, you can have an Airbnb, you can have a hotel. And I think optimizing the creation of additional real estate for your products, it's eyeballs. Like as Aaron said, the most important thing to drive is eyeballs, to drive sales, to first of all, position your products in the first place to be most lucrative, and also to, you know, make sure that your inventory is being used strategically. So in this sense, we have, you know, understanding why a multi-channel approach is important to help the holistic sense of your strategy, and really something advantageous, you know, in the modern age is being able to leverage these additional retailers from your e-commerce site using the same pool of inventory through dropship and marketplace options. So the way that this helps specifically for overstock is inventory, right? We're talking about sitting on inventory, and inventory for a brand is your biggest asset. It's your currency. It's what you're selling. It is your product, but it's also your biggest liability. Sitting on a pool of inventory that's not, you know, liquidating, that is not turning over is a real liability for a brand to have. So dropship and marketplace channels and additional retailer channels access enables you to ensure that your inventory is always going to be an asset for you. It's not a plan A, it's not a plan B always, you know, it's not always about liquidating your products after the fact. It's also, as Aaron mentioned, it's about planning ahead. It's about ensuring that you're set up with these different channels and these different portals from the stream of your inventory, being able to have a multi-stream approach. And you can use this strategically as well. You know, you can choose strategically, you know, how much inventory you're giving to any one retailer, also what products you're giving to specific retailers, so that you can be as relevant as possible and also utilize your inventory in the most strategic way as possible. Additionally, you know, at the beginning of a season, you have an opportunity to sell to a retailer in a wholesale capacity. What dropship and marketplace enables you to do is also supplement that wholesale, right? We're talking about excess inventory that we have at the end of the season. If we're seeing bestsellers and we're seeing things selling well, you can always supplement your wholesale orders with additional dropship to be able to test in new variants, new products, add additional, you know, lines to your business across different retailers. So you can be super relevant for the retailer and also expand on your catalog as much as possible. Additionally, as Erin said, we talk about bestsellers a lot, and ensuring that your bestsellers are really never selling out. So we use dropship and marketplace technology to be able to backfill orders. What this means is that when your bestsellers sell out, ensure that they don't sell out, like make sure that that inventory feed is live and feeding to the back end to keep these products live. If there's an opportunity to sell them and you have the inventory, it's strategic to be able to continue to sell these and ensure that they don't sell out. Beyond just overstocks, there is, additional benefits of having this multi-channel approach. There's a technological capability to meet customers where they are. There's a statistic that Gen Z, not C, I don't know what generation that is, Gen Z, consumers are searching more for products on TikTok than they are on Google, which is mind-boggling. I'll ask my little sisters about it. And, being able to meet on social commerce, being able to meet them on live selling. This is all the capability of having inventory that you're able to be agile with and ensure that you're connecting to different channels. It's not about staying, old school. It's all about, keeping up to date and making sure that you're really meeting customers where they are to meet those eyeballs. Also, dropship as a strategy in general allows brands to take their products and co-market on different retailers. From the different catalog items that you can have a line for women and a line for children on your own site, but being able to be super specific with a children's focused retailer and having your assortment for that children's, it gets hyper specific and it can be really strategic for your approach. Additionally, we've seen brands, small brands have the verification blue check of approval from retailers. And it's really great to be able to co-market in that way for the brand and also the retailer. Also, we have brands, using dropship as a testing lab. You can test out, if I want to see if these pants work out, see what retailers they work on, let me test it. Let me see if I want to iterate on the intel that I'm getting from the different channels that I'm on to advise my overall strategy. It's not about having a strategy at the beginning of the season and just letting it play out. As Erin mentioned, we're constantly collecting data, constantly iterating and being agile on where's our inventory going and where is it working. And, we always see success from leveraging dropship channels, proving out that brands are a good retailer fit to be able to leverage for, future wholesale upfront businesses. This is taking this multi-channel approach and really being able to not only mitigate for overstocks that you currently have, but also plan ahead for next season. Take the intel that you have to be able to, set up your strategy so you're left with less overstocks because you're using your inventory really, really smartly.
Yeah, I think everything you shared is dead on, Lauren. And I think the same tune that we're singing here is that the decisions you make have to be data driven, and they've got to be smart, right? They got to be intelligently done. You can make data driven decisions in the moment, but you don't want to be spinning the wheel. And if you have a clear plan and have that visibility, the data, so you can combine all these moving parts that are coming along, you can more easily manage such a complicated process, which inventory management absolutely is. And I think that's where the technology side comes into play. So we're going to talk a little bit about how we leverage the technologies today in order to achieve some of the strategies and high level thoughts we have described before. So on my side with the website, it comes through product discovery, and a good place to start is what we call AI deep tagging. So this is an automated process of taking images and returning it to text. And this allows us to enrich the tags of our products. And today, for a lot of people, we have this manual process, and this can be error riddled, and obviously it's very time consuming because you have a constant in and out of your catalog changing. And why this is critical to, if you have the ability to automate this part of the process, is getting correct tags, more granularity in the tagging process, and a reduction in errors, because if it's not a human process, typos and so on get reduced. Now, what does that all equal to, and why is that relevant to overstock. Well, these tags are the foundation of discoverability on your website, right? If a tag is not there, you can't find it in text search. If the color blue is not with my t-shirt, when I search blue t-shirt, this shirt that I'm wearing will not show up in the results. So having a strong, accurate foundation will get you the first step of the way for overstocked items, making sure that all your products have a fair playing field. Everything's discoverable now, not just from your text, but on your PLP pages, in the correct areas, and through your recommendation engines that are also anchored on categorization and tags. So the foundation and automating that process not only allows you to become more efficient as a business, because we have teams that usually are dedicated to this, or can be, but helps with the accuracy and the granularity. And this is a good place to start when leveraging technology for moving overstock, making sure that it's discoverable. Now, when we get to the point that we know, despite our best efforts, we have the automation, the strong foundation, and we're still not getting visibility, we want to leverage our recommendation engines, our carousels, and throughout the website. Now, this can be done, again, by pairing it with your bestsellers or products that have most viewed. Sometimes if we keep our out-of-stock products live on the website, those drive in a lot of views, and what we need to do is draw the user's attention to a product that is purchasable at this moment in time. And that's done with those recommendation engines, but using personalization in that engine powered behind it allows you to sort of rank it and pull up that relevant item in that right moment of time. So using the recommendations correctly and at the right time. So on your best sellers, making sure your overstocked items are in there, and out of stock products, making sure the ones that didn't have views have that fair shot of getting in there. And how do you do that? By using merchandising rules. So you want a technology, if you don't already have this today, to easily help you apply rules on your product listing pages, on your recommendation engines, on your text search, so you can effectively not manipulate, but weight the way you rank and provide the products to align with your business goals. So in this scenario, when we discussed, we segmented our overstock products, and we have a group of products that have no views, and we want to take action on it, we can then create merchandising rules to push it within our personalization, these products, and encourage visibility. And using technology in that way will allow us to very quickly take those actions. And then you have the flip side, whereas the constant analysis, right? Looking at the data, then from taking those actions, then we got to balance the checks, so to speak. So we got to see how those results, how the eyes come in. When we did get eyes, did they start converting those products? If not, then they fall into, I have eyes and we require investigation. But if they are converting, we've already begun to alleviate that pain point. So the combining of having the data and a system to digest that data effectively, setting deadlines within your inventory, and then maximizing the real estate within your website to match those business goals. So making sure that within the carousels, I have the right products, using merchandising rules to push them in there, and then, rinse and repeat, analyze that, and then make the according changes based on the data you've seen come in.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I think, Aaron talks about how technology allows for scalability and growth, and all this information and data that we invest back into our business enables us to, just grow further and just iterate more. And when we're talking about growth and scalability, which is, an utmost goal for most suppliers, most retailers, growth is really key, specifically when it comes to also the topic of inventory and being able to maximize that. It's eyeballs, it's growth, it's additional channels, it's additional, real estate on site, really. And while, things are possible manually, that type of scalability and that type of growth really can be achieved mainly through automation. And I think that we're in a world of technology that enables that automation. So all those manual pain points can be taken away to allow for the maximum amount of scalability. So when we're talking about automation, we're talking about, multiple factors. We're automating from one to many, right? So we're talking about one product set and enabling that to be, syndicated into multiple different retailers and be able to be, meet retailer specifications in an automated fashion so that it doesn't require manual work. It accounts for human error, and ensuring the most accurate products listing are up on site for, the most smooth selling processes. Also, one-to-many, we're talking about an inventory pool. So the beauty of really being able to leverage the same inventory pool across multiple channels is very deep, no pun intended. And I think that taking this inventory pool and having multiple channels not only enables you to maximize, right? We're always talking about selling more and adding more, and that really does solve for, the overstock problem, and we can speak to that. But it's not only about maximizing, really. It's about using this automation to, first of all, stay most relevant. Automatic inventory feeds really prevent for inventory lags, which can be a buffer in selling out your inventory. So it's automating that entire process. And what that enables also is to give a supplier control. Control is a very important thing because being in control of your inventory enables you to really iterate and really be agile with how you choose to use your inventory. Make it an asset. Don't make it a liability. Ensure that when you're selling out your bestseller on any given retailer, it's not only about selling the most amount you can sell, it's about selling smart, really. It's about understanding where things are selling, how they're selling, and how you can take the data that you're getting on a daily basis and implement the right products in the right location. So we're thinking of it as a pool. All these different channels have faucets that you can really be in control of and really choose how you're strategically manipulating these faucets to really leverage the best possible selling ecosystem that you have. If you want to preserve products for your own site, absolutely. Make sure that, the inventory is only flowing into that site. If there are specific products, we're not just talking about inventory in general. If there are specific products that are working on one retailer or not working on another retailer, take that information, use it, take that channel and optimize on that. Really, really understand that it's automation and creating this ability to control and really be smart with your inventory enables such a strategic approach that can be really iterated, really planned for, really mitigated if needed, and can really shed light into how a supplier can best operate on their e-commerce channels to stay most relevant and do the best for their business.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, Lauren. I think, heading into this year, it's even more relevant. I mean, it's always a relevant topic.
Always relevant.
But we are definitely heading into an interesting time, and the name of the game is efficiency, right? You got to be smart and calculate about what we're doing. So that goes not only with where you're selling your products, but also how you're effectively managing your time internally, because now all of us are going to be doing a lot more with a lot less. So we need to leverage these technologies, leverage the data to help make the smart decisions, not just run revenue, which obviously we want to drive the revenue, but it can't be blindly driving revenue. There's deeper questions behind that. Profitability being a main thing, but ultimately you got to be smart with the actions. And I think technology today is the best way to accomplish that with the eye on growth always.
Absolutely. And I think to further that point, you can set yourself up and you can plan as best as possible. Something that technology enables you to do is to adjust, as things are going. If you're in a market that's unstable, if you have, unforeseen, we've seen it, warehouse issues or unforeseen delays in shipping, you can adjust accordingly for things that you didn't plan for. And I think that that's something when you're talking about being smart and being able to leverage technology, it really, again, it's about control, and it's about controlling how you show up and also planning for what you can plan for, and then being able to control what you cannot plan for to best affect your business so that even in, uncertain times, you can do less with more, and you can more with less. No, we don't want to do less and more. You can do more. We can do whatever you want, but we can do more with less and be able to really take ownership over our assets and over our businesses.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So I think right now the next thing we're going to dive into is some quick firing, if that's
Yeah,
correct, Julie.
rapid fire, rapid
Rapid
fire.
fire.
Recap a little while you're thinking of the questions you want to ask Aaron and Lauren. I'm gonna do a little rapid fire with them. What for different scenarios? So you can go on to the next slide. Okay, what should you do when your product is selling well? Okay, Lauren, go.
First of all, celebrate. Amazing. You have a product that has great product market fit. That's great. I think the first thing to look at is, where is it selling well? You know, what have we done right? Often we look at what we're doing wrong, but what have we done right, and how can we replicate this? How can we take this product, understand this is the right retailer for it? You know, how can we get more products like this on this retailer? How can we understand, you know, when did this sell? How did this sell? Really looking at the data and understanding why this sold, so that we can replicate that. And also, if your product is selling well and you want to, you know, understand how it can best sell across other channels, you can also leverage that information to apply to other channels as well. Learnings are really cross-platform, and you know, all data is good data.
Definitely. You definitely want to try to replicate anything that's successful. If you're looking within your own website, it could be something as simple as description or titling for the reason that that product is succeeding. Again, tagging, right? If maybe the tags are more robust on one product than another, that could be a reason it's selling well. So looking at that and making sure that everything is up to par is definitely an action to take. Also, items that are selling well is our opportunity for creating uplift, right? Creating extra items to add to cart. So leveraging your carousels smartly and effectively. These are the areas where you really want to spend most of your time looking at the carousels and your recommendations. And again, I like to align my business goals with these carousels specifically, the ones that are getting the eyes, the ones that are selling, where I can package, whether it's overstock products, whether it's the best ratings or reviews, whatever that goal is. And in this scenario, it's overstock. So I would say, this is where I package my overstock products that don't have eyes. Let's give them eyes and see if they're converting. If they don't convert here, they're probably not going to convert very effectively. So seeing what works well and then taking advantage of the fact that it's working well by providing alternative and items that complement what's currently being purchased.
Yeah, I was just going to add to that. Yeah, you know, we have shop the look, or shop the room, all sorts of complementary items when your product is selling well. Okay, next question. What should you do when your product is sold out? Go, Aaron, you start.
Yes, so when your product is sold out on the website front, you got to make sure that the focus of attention is then drawn to your recommendations, right? Effectively, if the product is sold out and that PDP is still online, you've now introduced a dead end to your user, and it will most definitely be drop off. A lot of users will leave your site at that moment. So what we want to do is make sure that their shopping experience is frictionless. And by using the recommendation engines, something usually where we have the greatest success at Syte is visually similar, right? A visually similar option to what they're looking for as an alternative is a great way to go. And again, the key there is if this item is out of stock and if it's not being fulfilled in the near future, then that attention on that type of page needs to be drawn to the visually similar item. So whether that is putting the carousel higher up or having an icon right there that draws what is in stock that looks similar is pretty crucial, or else you have a lost sale, so to speak. So making sure that there are no dead ends when it comes to sold out products is very critical. And a lot of the methodologies that I discussed before, monitoring your sales rates, having that expiration dates, hopefully gets you to a place where you don't get to a sold out product. Lauren has a lot of ideas, I know, on the drop shipping side to sort of fill in that blank.
Yeah, absolutely. Fill in is the key word there. So I think, first of all, when your product is sold out, again, celebrate. It's great. You've created a successful product that is doing well online. As Aaron said, you know, a dead end is not a good, it's a dead end for a motivated shopper. So you never want to have a dead end. And the best way through a dead end is to create a path. So as Aaron said, we talk about backfilling orders. This is really the ability to utilize your inventory pool and utilize, you know, different technologies to create an inventory line that backfills orders. So if a product is sold out, make sure that it's not sold out. Make sure that you're supplementing your wholesale orders so that they're not sold out online with additional dropship orders behind it. You have another inventory set behind it that can create additional life for this product and keep it alive, because it's selling well, keep it selling. If it's truly sold out, again, we don't want to see sold out products on site. If it's sold out of inventory, again, amazing. You've done the opposite of the problem here. You've sold out your inventory pool for this product. Know that you should order some more for next season and create more assets for yourself. But you don't want to have a bunch of product listing on site that's sold out. The beauty of being able to control your inventory pool is also being able to pull products off site when they're no longer relevant. So if people are scrolling through your site, they're not constantly hitting dead end after dead end, even though this product is sold out. You're actually able to curate your site so that things are not sold that are actually sold out. So you can make sure that things are most relevant for your consumers, and they're not getting to that place of losing momentum. They're being directed towards additional product that you have, similar product that you have, understanding what sold out to be able to kind of replace that with something similar that can sell well as well, because that's a proven concept on that channel.
Okay, great. Next question. We only have a few minutes left, so we'll make it even quicker. What should you do when you're left with tons of stock? Lauren, go.
Tons of stock. Let's use all the tools that we talked about today. I think tons of stock means that you have just opportunity to sell it. So open all your channels, be strategic about it, understand what is the stock, how can I best sell it, where will it best sell? You can understand where you should open it, where you should close it. Is it, too tried and true on your site? If so, pull it off for a little bit, utilize that real estate elsewise, as Aaron mentioned, is really precious, and be strategic about what channels you're putting this on. You can also utilize, co-marketing with the retailers that you're on to really prop these products up. You can, you always utilize different price reductions and promotions to, again, drive traffic, but really it's about getting eyeballs on these products, because odds are they're great products, and you can definitely utilize a lot of the tools that we talked about today to leverage excess inventory.
Yeah, from my side, when you're left with tons of stock, you want to understand why, right? Why do we have, did we lose an avenue of eyeballs? Did it never have eyeballs? Do we overorder? And the next question you ask is, okay, I have this overstock product, and when's the deadline? If we can sit on it, like Lauren mentioned, great, then there's no urgency for liquidity, then we can wait it out and wait. Maybe it's a seasonal product, maybe it'll pick up the next year round. That's perfectly fine. But in order for us to make an effective decision, we need to know when do we need to sell it out by. So you need to make sure of these products that they have sort of that, I call it an expiration date for sitting in your warehouse. And with that expiration date, you'll know the urgency. And depending on that urgency, you could take that action. But it's more of understanding what were the incidents that led me to being overstocked. And then, okay, when do I have to alleviate this problem by? And then from there, you can then create a plan to do so. And then the reason you want to know why is just so you don't replicate that error again, of course, if possible.
Okay, last question for our rapid fire recap. What should you do when your product is in decline or at end of life?
Okay, I'll dive into this one.
Yeah.
So when the product is into decline and end of life, if we're able to segment the catalog like I mentioned, and you're monitoring the sales velocities, you can actually see a decline in sales over time, right? And you can identify these a lot sooner. Now, the question becomes, again, it kind of a similar question to the answer before is the question is, okay, how long do I have with these items? Because an end of life today doesn't mean an end of life over a year's time. It could be an end of life this quarter. It could be an end of life of a couple weeks. And so you need to understand the urgency behind it. But if we're noticing that it isn't a decline and end of life on your website, you want to start freeing up that real estate. It's either push it, again, the expiration date is critical for when you move these in and out of your recommendations. But if it is declining and we're not selling as much, you have products that are selling more effectively on that avenue. So you need to put them and in place, and then start taking actions. Okay, we know it's the end of life. Then we got to start taking actions on what we do. Are we moving into the wholesale? Are we moving into these other steps to sort of get rid of these products before we're left hanging with them?
Yeah, absolutely. You talk about, liquidating these products and ensuring that we're not left with end of life products. We see a lot of brands actually create a channel for this specifically. You don't want to diminish your brand by having really steep discounts on multiple retailers. You can actually partner with a retailer that is a promotional retailer where you're able to take your end of life products and really liquidate them. Understand that you don't want to cannibalize your own business, but you want to create a really compelling offer. Do that in a way that's really curated and really strategic. And I think that, as these products go towards end of life, it's really about selling out the inventory and becoming sold out on them so that you're not stuck with them. So whether it's an exclusive channel for this and an exclusive promotion, really being able to leverage the different options that you have. So you're not only relying on, one sales channel. You can really optimize this across the board and, spread it out, get the most impact you can out of these products while you have them, and really ensure that you're putting them to bed nicely.
Great. We have one more slide for you, which is a bit of a summary. We made a checklist for you. We're not going to read through it because we've gone through everything tonight, but we will send this out to everyone so you have a handy inventory surplus checklist. And now, please, we have a few minutes left. Please put any questions you have in the Q&A. We already have a couple, so I will read them out. The first one, I think it's mostly for Lauren. If a product is selling well on dropship, what can we do to try to get the retailer to place wholesale orders?
Off mute. Yeah, it's a great question. I think that, traditionally, back in the day, before a decade, before e-commerce was really as relevant, wholesale orders was really the bulk of business for brands. And shelf life in retail stores is unfortunately limited. And I think that for, a lot of brands being able to prove out their success on retailers is done super successfully through dropship. So if you're selling well on dropship and you are doing sales, as I said, data speaks louder than anything. You can ensure that you're communicating with the retailer team, let them know, look, these are doing amazing. These products are hotcakes and selling like them, and we can't keep the inventory on stocks. Do you want to place a big order for next season? Just, being able to develop that, again, multi-strategic approach so that you're not just left with all your eggs in one basket. You have a lot of baskets and a lot of eggs, and sunny side up, scrambled, however you want them. So really maximizing what that strategy looks like.
Thanks. Okay, next question is for Erin. Can you explain a bit more about the AI deep tagging, how that helps with demand forecasting and other planning?
Absolutely. I got my mute stuck there too. So with the AI, the deep tagging solution, again, the ability to extract the text from images, how we can effectively use that for forecasting and it's really for finding commonalities. Lauren mentioned earlier in our talk that we want to find what works where and replicate that in other places. So when it comes to deep tagging, getting the attributes and looking at doing an analysis on the attribute level can allow you to find commonalities between products that might not be evident in a data only way. And I'll give you an example. So we could say that potentially we have bestsellers that share common attributes of a button-up shirt. They're blue, they're 3/4 length, right? So we don't have generally that granularity or the confidence in the tagging that we do today in order to rely on this data. But if we have the ability to automate and get this information automatically, we can then view these tags and then cross-reference the sales the same way we look today and look at the sales forecasting through a tagging perspective. So if I have an item that shares these exact attributes on a tagging level and they don't have good eyes I know that there is a potential on one hand for this product to sell, and I could focus on trying to push that because there are commonalities on a data level with it. On another standpoint, just very quickly, looking at the sales coming in today, we look at it on a category level, and generally maybe a subcategory level. Again, the granularity that you could get through the automated deep tagging allows you to look at the same analysis on a much more granular way. So seeing that you're selling, strapless shirts at a higher rate, strapless shirts with, that are black higher than strapless shirts that are these other colors. These small insights can allow your purchasers, the buying teams, to more effectively plan out what they're purchasing ahead. And that type of insight ultimately leads to less overstock if you're providing more relevant products to your users at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, and just to add on to that, I think, it's really interesting what data you can collect can also inform your next season. So it's really about what worked, what didn't work. How can we, as we're selling through this season and planning for next season, how can we understand what the trends are, how they're trending up for certain products, and really getting that deep information to inform what next season looks like, where next season is. So I think that's really interesting and valuable.
Great. I want to thank everyone. We're just about out of time. I know there's one more question that's on everyone's minds, which is how can I get a demo of Syte or Symbio? And don't worry, we're going to be sending that out in the links out in the thank you email. So you'll all be able to get more information on how Syte and Symbio can help you with your inventory strategy and many other things. I thank you very much to our panelists, Lauren and Aaron. You guys were great. Thank you to all of our attendees, and I want to wish you all continued successful holiday shopping season and a great 2023. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Happy holidays.
Okay. Holidays. Bye.